Today is 111 and I'm all bogged down with my social media because Facebook is in a snit because I just say people like in Doctor Sleep, the movie, who murdered that 12-year-old boy, the baseball boy. I said people who torture, people who murder children, hang them by the neck until they're dead. Facebook said, you can't say that because it's about suicide. The fuck it's about suicide? It's about capital punishment. But whatever the AI is or the individual people at Facebook who are looking at me because I'm heavily shadow banned and censored are just playing games, head games. Anyways, that's what's going on at Facebook. Facebook is an evil fucking corporation. Big tech, big pharma, big evil. We didn't tell you about adrenochrome that you'll get from drinking the blood of, 12-year-old baseball boys in Dr. Sleep. Adreno chipsets in Chrome laptops, sponsored by Google. It's a horror. It's a horrible thing, adrenochrome. And they put adreno chips in Chrome laptops, Google. That's not tacky. A huge corporation, why would you smear your corporation with adrenochrome? Unless you openly are an evil corporation, and that's what they are. They just are. They're just openly mocking you because that's the Luciferian philosophy. And everybody that knows anything about this idea of the Luciferians running the TV shows, well, there's your proof in the pudding. Okay, so what else do you want to know? 9/11, because I don't know, it just popped into my head. Somebody sent it by telepathy into my head that 9/11 was possibly an insurance fraud. And then I went and I did a Google search, and lo and behold, a lot of people do say there were billions of dollars paid out in insurance for the World Trade Center that. And then the next thing that comes into my head is, I've never been to New York. Never been. I've not been, in my whole 57 years on this planet, I've never been anywhere near New York. So as far as I know, it could be a green screen Hollywood trick. What? Because does the 9/11 towers, did those things even exist? I never walked around them. I never saw them. Just, pictures in TV and movies. But, Hollywood built the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas. They say that the film from the moon landings was made up, I don't know, either in the desert somewhere in the USA or maybe in the Canadian Arctic. Anyways, 9/11. Who do I know who was in New York City at the time of 9/11? John Zelensky, my frenemy. I don't know where to go other than, and what do I know about him? I didn't know there's something really weird with him, something horribly fishy, because John Zelensky is somehow got the same voice as his father, Bob Zelensky, when I was talking to them last time on the phone. What does it mean? I don't know. It could be part of the electronic harassment of me. I don't know. How far down the rabbit hole does it get before? There's nothing I can do other than tell you that, in the end, even the things that you experience, sometimes, memories change. And, the only thing you really have is this particular present moment, where in this moment you're given, whatever you're given, it floats through on your mind. I don't know, flotsam and jetsam of stuff that floats around in your mind and comes to you, or is directly beamed at you by people who have got evil intent. Because Don Juan Matus, the great spiritual teacher, have nothing to do with Christianity, nothing to do with Judaism. Anyways, Don Juan Matus would tell you a lot of stuff. So you need to read the Carlos Castaneda book, because even if you got the book, The Wheel of Time, that would be good if you read all the Carlos Castaneda books first, because you need to get all that data into your head, but what all these things mean in The Wheel of Time, because, it's, all the quotes. But, without the stories and the whole way that everything plays out, they're just words and they don't really mean. I mean, you could use them for your own use and put your own interpretations on them. Wayne Dyer did that with the Tao Te Ching. He did it. Every day he would read some verse from the Tao Te Ching, and then he would give his own interpretation out of his head and out of his heart. Because he did those kind of things. He was very creative, and he's very inspiring. Very good teacher. And to be a spiritual person rather than to be a drone. Okay? We're trying to see if we can get permission to use Michael Myers characters like Church Lady and, I don't know. Answer is no. Which characters do I have access to? I don't know. Burt Reynolds did come through the back of my head one time. The Burt Reynolds, what? Energetic signature Burt Reynolds, yep. After he was dead, technically, yeah. I don't know. I haven't had anybody of real significance come through lately. Anyways, we were talking about the band Strange Advance from 1984. We Run. I bought that. It was an EP. That's a record for, your younglings. It was made out of, they said it was made out of vinyl, but it doesn't feel like, what you think of vinyl because they called it vinyl, but it's hard plastic. The ancient ones were really hard plastic, doesn't bend at all, rock hard. And then later versions of records had a little bit of give to them. But you wouldn't want, they would like, wow, if you moved them in the air. The original ones, they would move and the disc wouldn't move with the air movement. So they became more flexible. They have a nice sound, yes. There was always a debate as to whether vinyl grooves and a diamond needle makes a warmer sound than a CD, which replaced the LPs, long play records. Technology change. Some people said that the original CDs just didn't have the warmth. Anyways, I had this extended play. It wasn't as long as an LP, but it was extended play longer than a 45 or something like that. Strange Advance, I bought it when I was going to school in Hamilton, Ontario in 1984. I bought a record player. It was a Dual, D-U-A-L. I don't know who makes that, but it was a good one. And I played that record on and off for several years. And then it went away into storage for a million years, and I did play it, not too many times, but, in the past 10 or 15 years, I've played it a few times. Anyways, it came on the radio. And it's come on the radio. I don't know, it came up on my YouTube feed too. The Palladians wanted to let me know that they're real. Because I got a big, an enormous, kick in the balls over the Galactic Federation of Light and there being, advanced extraterrestrials, that are, real. Because I was just given, horrible so many times, and, then it was piped through that, the Galactic Federation of Light and, any benevolent forces, it was just given to me to tell everybody that they don't exist. And I was given to tell you that Ryan, breakfast with Ryan, R-I-O-N, the light worker, that he's funny baloney, that he doesn't do anything like the guy who goes into the astral worlds and does Luna fighting, evil people. I don't know, this is just stuff that comes and goes. Anyways, the Strange Advance came on, and everybody was like, this is a significant event, because it's, it was just the way it came across cognitively that Strange Advance, they're Palladians. people, the musicians. The music is the music of the Pleiadians. And they're telling us. Because I'm under attack again. My dick pic is under attack again. And it's the 1%. They've got us at knife point and they got us at gunpoint. And they have me by electronic harassment. Remote neural monitoring and imposed virtual reality, voice to skull, synthetic telepathy, synthetic telekinesis of my body, moving my body around by remote control, making my shit my pants, or attempting to make me shit my pants as I'm walking through the grocery store, giving me, an on-purpose heart attack by remote control, targeting the nerve centers of your body, mind wipes like Men in Black, all kinds of horrible, beyond horrible, make you sick to your stomach for days, make you sick to your stomach for years, give you fibromyalgia. They did. Instantaneously, they flipped a switch on their computer systems, and whatever they did, they sent a frequency into my body that immediately gave me horrible fibromyalgia. So if you suffer from fibromyalgia, you want to know what the cause is? The cause is electronic harassment. Electronic harassment, as far as I can tell, any disease that anybody ever has can cause it. I'll mark it down. Anything, everything from dementia to Parkinson's disease. Electronic harassment. It's a horror, which means that what? We'd be disease-free if there weren't parasites that, have got all this high technology and surreptitiously make us sick, torture us. Because they're demons, they're devils. They're demons and devils. Demons and devils cannot be rationally talked to. They'll pretend to talk to you when they're in the mood, but they're just going to do demons and devilry forever. Was 9/11 an inside job? Or did 9/11 never exist? Or did they, I don't know. Because they could have used, computer-generated animation of the World Trade Center, and we already know that everything about the videos of all that stuff is all hokey-pokey. Somebody got billions of dollars in insurance settlements, and the Port of New York, that owned the property, everyone knows. Everyone in New York tries to figure out a way to, make a scam and walk away with lots of money. So they get involved with the people that own the TV networks. And they own the U.S. government, so they own the military, and they, close down the airspace, and, they brought down the old World Trade Center and controlled demolition, because everybody said it's controlled demolition. And then they put a cover story that it was an attack by Islamic terrorists, and they shut down the whole world with all the waves of repercussions of scaring and terrorists. Because they had to do that in order to get us to buy into the story. But it was billions of dollars worth of stuff that they got for free from the insurance companies. What about all the dead people? I don't know any of those people. Were they dead or alive? They're just a bunch of names. They could be real or not real. What about John Zelensky, who said that he was living in New York at the time? Well, he's a scammer, isn't he? He's a motherfucking scammer because he learned from his old man who was a judge in Thunder Bay. And we know in that blog, I don't know exactly what it's Thunder Bay. No. Anyways, it's a blow the whistle of Agnew Johnson, who was the Crown Prosecutor in Thunder Bay, who was diddling children that they were picking up on Simpson Street. I don't know. Everyone was involved in those years. I don't know. 40 years ago. Judges, lawyers, police. I don't know. Anybody. But as far as we know, it was a lot of indigenous children. I don't know. I didn't go up and down Simpson Street in those years. Because it was a scary part of town. Lots of bars. And drunk people and prostitutes. I don't want to go there. I'm a kid, 15. What was I? Well, this apparently went on in the 1970s, 1980s. 1970s, I don't know. 1975, I was 10 years old. 1985, I was 20. Even when I started drinking at the bars, we never went to Simpson Street in Thunder Bay. We went to the Italian Hall. We went to the Da Vinci Hall, the sports bars. Yep. We went to, I don't know, the Shags. We went to a lot of house parties, camp parties. Anyways, we didn't go to Simpson Street, so I don't know anything about it. Other than that blog talks about Crown Prosecutor Agnew Johnson, who eventually got so old, the heat was so hot, he had to leave town, and the word was that, I don't know if he was disbarred or not, but word was that he was sent off to Australia, but he didn't do jail time. So, it was very convenient, and, who was part of that law society in those times? Bob Zielinski, who became Judge Zielinski, father of John Zielinski, who claims he was in New York City at the time of the New York 9/11 fiasco of apparently the Twin Towers being, taken down by some airplanes that were flown by people who trained to be Cessna pilots in Florida, and then, the next thing you know, they're flying. I don't know how big those planes were, but they were enormous jets, jumbo jets. And then somebody else flew an Exocet missile into the Pentagon. And a bunch of other planes apparently went down, including the wife of a noted AIDS victim and psycho Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins was George Hamilton. Same guy, same face. George Hamilton, they put an imitation mole on his face, but same guy. And Anthony Perkins was said to be a homosexual, and he acquired HIV/AIDS and died. And his wife was a noted photographer, and she died on one of these 9/11 planes. That's really what you can find if you go to places like Wikipedia on the internet. Does that sound hinky to you? What does hinky mean to me? Hinky means Twilight Zone, yeah, and Behind the Twilight Zone cover story is criminal activity, absolutely. I don't know. How much money do Hollywood movie stars have? They have enough to bankroll enormous productions. $50 million, I don't know. If you're Keanu Reeves, have you got $50 million that you can pump into the next movie? According to what they tell us in the tabloids, yes, but whether they actually do or not, or whether they're contractually bound not to be able to do anything, because in the end, it's all hidden behind the boilerplate of all the legalisms and lawyers and, all of this shit that you got to go through. Because even the prime director of in Star Trek that says that no one can interfere with our society here is like, I didn't consent to that one way or another. Me, Bobby Burrows, I never consented to that. Because I don't consent to that. Because this shit show on planet Earth, if there are extraterrestrials who have the power to root out all the crime and all the evil, but they're being stopped because Star Trek said that there's a prime directive that says you can't come, and it was on Earth TV. And I say, fuck you, Gene Roddenberry, and fuck you, James T. Kirk. Because seriously, we need an intervention. We do. And we were promised an intervention in, Captain Kirk's story of a piece of the action in the original Star Trek, which you can see the original series on Netflix. A piece of the action. The Federation, was supposed to be paid out a percentage of the profits of all the businesses that were going on planet Earth. And the Federation was supposed to come around every year, collect the money, and then reinvest the money in things like schools and libraries. So that was what was set up, despite the Prime Directive in the original series. So I'm expecting something like a Galactic Federation of Light to come and say, you owe us a whole shitload of money, capitalists of planet Earth, and we're taking it all as back rent. And then we're going to have the Galactic Federation implement galactic law here on planet Earth, and we're going to throw out everything to do with all the criminal codes of all this bullshit. When Jeffrey Epstein can live above the law and torture and murder children, and when Roger Clinton can be pardoned of doing some cocaine, and everybody else, especially the black people, are locked up for, well, we're told, I don't know, I never go to these prisons. It's just what they say, it seems terribly unfair. So getting rid of all this, privileged shit and all this pack of lies about what went on, John Zelensky, with 9/11. Did you get paid off? John, did you get some kind of a payout from the Jews that own, NBC or something? Because I don't buy any of that bullshit story that George Soros is real. Because Bill Gates ain't real neither. Because Melinda Gates is played by actor Kevin Kline. Anthony Fauci has the exact same duplicate face as Mother Teresa. These personalities that we continue to call real because we've seen them on TV, we have no evidence that they're not deep fakes of nobody at all. An invented face and an invented background. An invented story, just like a fiction writer. A fiction writer in the olden days. The fiction, they make a story. Maybe it was the Hardy Boys, and there'd be some pictures that were hand-drawn pictures by human artists. Maybe they were colored, and it would be like Binky, or whatever was that guy's name. Jason Lee played him in those Dogma movies. The Kevin Smith movies. There was the two guys. One guy was the inky guy, and the other guy was the binky guy who colored it in. There was the color guy, and there was the ink guy who drew the outlines. Inky and Binky. Mallrats, maybe it was. Jason, I don't know. I kind of liked you in that movie. Was it Earl or something about the guy with the bowling alley? Yeah. I don't have any money to buy a bowling alley. I don't know. Superior Lanes was for sale, but, I don't know. It wasn't set up for me. Anyways, Kevin Smith's gang, if you're out there, and, you want to come and rescue me because I'm in Thunder Bay at the Valhalla Inn, right by the airport. You could just fly in on one of your, chartered or one of those jets that you own and come pick me up. I don't have my passport. It's locked away, and all my money is, don't worry about it. Anyways, under galactic law, I don't need Canadian money or Canadian government documentation to say who I am. Because according to the Galactic Federation of Light, they vouch for me as being who I am. We're just way beyond carrying all this identification so that, rent-a-cops in any old uniform could stop you and frisk you and card you and, put handcuffs on you and haul you away. Yeah, the Galactic Federation says there's no more fucking carding for real. No more carding. No more. How about no more police? No, they're going to have what? I don't know. Who's going to be some other thing? You just won't have humans dressed in black, driving around black and whites, with an imposing look on their face like, they're going to beat you up. No. Because that's what they say. What else do you need to know? Anyways, the people who are torturing me have been given all kinds of information about, again and again, stopping torturing me, and to this point they have not stopped. At this late date, even though they've seen multiple times that, they are losing what we call call control, that is like, they still have a lot of power to hurt me and torture me, but certain things that they could do a year ago, they haven't been able to do. Like a year ago, they tortured me and they would make it so that I couldn't pee. I would sit on the toilet for, 2.5 hours. every time I had to pee. Well, now I don't have a problem peeing. But as you can see in my face, and they still have a lot of ability to do things. Well, I don't know, just to illustrate to you people out there that, I am being tortured still, and it's been years and years and years, and, the people that torture me just want to let you know. Because at some particular juncture, when, I don't know, when you're doing a life review, and they're going to say, well, you watched this torture that went on, and, you went, Bobby Burrows clearly doesn't need any help. And that's not true. Bobby Burrows, this person, this human being, could really use, basic social services, like housing and room and board and a new cell phone every once in a while. I don't know, a new pair of shoes when the old ones wear out. Because, if I'm crippled because, the Canadian military refuses to look to see if the individual Canadians are being attacked. I don't know, with asymmetrical warfare and terrorism, I mean, why don't they monitor all the Canadian people? Why don't they, just check in? It's the Canadian Navy, and we're just coming to see. Do you feel like there's anything that's going on in your city that, your local police either are ignoring or it's too big for them to deal with? Because, beyond the local police, government services in Canada include the Defense Department, and people do pay into it. And if the Defense Department never actually asks individual Canadians, do you have anything you want to tell us about, your life that you think is really military affairs? I'm going to say, fuck yeah, I'm attacked. Electronic harassment by, I've reported it to the local Thunder Bay police 2 times, and, the cops say, yeah, I'm getting your information, and they're not. They checked out. They're stupid. So, yeah, I mean, if you're the Admiral of the Canadian Navy in Ottawa, I want to let you know, as a Canadian citizen in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, Bobby Burrows, at the Valhalla Inn presently, I am under attack. As a Canadian citizen, do I consider this warfare? Yes. Yes, because, I don't know, some president said there was a war on drugs. Well, I don't know, then there was a war on terrorism. Is this terror? Yes, it's terrorism. I've been terrorized for years. So if you're in the U.S. military or anybody else's military and you're wondering, is there terrorism going on? Yeah, there is. And I'm in Thunder Bay, Canada, and I'm being terrorized as that targeted individual. So, you can go and turn on all your military radar detectors and try and figure out, who's beaming signal at me. That's, imposed virtual reality. Voice to skull, synthetic telepathy. Didn't I tell you all this? Anyways, I can't stop it because, it's not me, but it's playing a comedy game. It's really not. It's a horror. So I don't know if there's anybody in the military anywhere that, wants to help me out. Or anybody that knows, a certain colonel or a major or somebody else who's, looking for something to do to investigate or something. Well, investigate what the fuck's going on with the attacks on me. Please.